As a man's journey crosses the threshold of 70, the world often begins to view him through a distorted lens, assuming that a house without a partner is a house without a soul. Society constructs a hollow narrative of abandonment, whispering words like isolated or forgotten behind his back. But what if the reality is far more luxurious than the public can imagine? Consider Silas, a 72-year-old former architect who was recently sitting in a sun-drenched botanical garden. He caught a snippet of conversation from a passing couple. Such a shame, a man that age having to face the evenings all by himself. Silas didn't feel the need to correct them or defend his lifestyle. He simply adjusted his glasses and smiled, because they couldn't possibly grasp the liberation he had finally secured. Living solo as a senior isn't an indicator of deficit. It is frequently an arrival at a profound internal sanctuary. It is a stillness that follows a 50-year storm of noise. Before we dive into this, make sure to join us here at Sage Vitality for honest, nuanced perspectives on the art of aging with dignity. Today, we're dismantling the myths and exploring the 5 unexpected truths about older men who embrace the solitary life. The first revelation is that these men aren't drowning in loneliness. They are practicing radical curation. After a lifetime of navigating corporate ladders, family friction, and the relentless demands of social masks, many seniors finally recognize what feeds their spirit and what starves it. In youth, we flee from silence because it forces us to face ourselves, but in later years, that same silence becomes a healing tonic. Silas once confessed that in his 40s, a quiet house felt like a tomb. Today, it feels like a cathedral. The television isn't a background drone used to mask the void. The phone isn't a tether to other people's crises. The mind finally has the acreage to roam. Behavioral science suggests that seniors who choose this path often reach a level of emotional equilibrium that eludes those who cling to company just to avoid their own thoughts. They possess a sharper focus and a lighter heart because they've stopped carrying the weight of unnecessary opinions. The second truth involves the reclamation of emotional sovereignty. Living alone eliminates the constant emotional negotiation that defines most long-term cohabitation. This doesn't imply a dislike for women or a rejection of partnership. It signifies a graduation from a need to perform. A man's early life is a marathon of proving worth, being the provider, the protector, the stoic rock. It's an exhausting role that requires a constant suppression of one's own rhythm. In the autumn of life, many men realize that internal tranquility is a far more precious currency than external validation. Data indicates that this reduction in social performance lowers stress hormones, which directly benefits cardiovascular health and sleep architecture. Many men report that for the first time in decades, their rest is uninterrupted. Not because the bed is empty, but because the mind is finally off duty. The third reality often catches families off guard: the self-governance effect. Relatives often fret that an aging man on his own will descend into a diet of canned food and neglected hygiene. In reality, the opposite often unfolds. When a man is the sole architect of his environment, his routines become surgical and self-honoring. He eats when his metabolism signals, not when a social schedule dictates. He rests with the sun and rises with purpose. Silas found that once he lived alone, he became more disciplined, not less. He started a ritual of dawn walks and preparing vibrant, whole food meals that focused on longevity rather than convenience. He shed the stress weight of his middle years, and his blood pressure stabilized. Independence often acts as a catalyst for self-respect, turning a man into the conscious guardian of his own temple. The fourth truth is perhaps the most misunderstood. Intimacy evolves. It doesn't vanish. Living solo is not a synonym for a life without affection. Love simply shifts from a high-frequency blaze to a steady, glowing coal. It becomes less about the intensity of a shared roof and more about the quality of a shared hour. Many older men cultivate profound bonds with their children, their peers, or local communities without the friction of domestic entanglement. They might enjoy the companionship of a partner without the need for a legal contract or a shared closet. They focus on legacy, mentorship, and the brotherhood of the quiet life. Society often confuses the absence of a spouse with a vacuum of the heart, failing to see that a man can be deeply connected to the world while returning to a peaceful home at night. This leads us to the fifth and most vital discovery: the power of the own-paced life. As we age, the tolerance for drama evaporates. Conflict feels like a waste of the limited sand remaining in the hourglass. Living alone allows a man to protect the perimeter of his peace with fierce intentionality. Silas put it perfectly. For the first time, I'm a conductor of my own orchestra. Research confirms that seniors who feel they have mastery over their daily schedule report significantly higher life satisfaction. However, we must be diligent. There is a vast canyon between healthy solitude and the trap of isolation. If the silence is a result of abandonment or grief, the impact is different. We must look for the warning signs: a fading interest in the world, the erosion of health, or a persistent heavy cloud of sadness. But for the vast majority, this chapter isn't a retreat from life. It is a mastery of it. It's about realizing that joy doesn't always require a witness. It can be found in the steam of a morning coffee, the texture of a new book, or a brisk walk through the autumn leaves. It is a hard-earned reward for a life well lived. Thank you for joining us at Sage Vitality, where we celebrate the strength, the autonomy, and the quiet dignity of the path less traveled.